Trapping plays a very important role in modern-day wildlife management. Professional wildlife biologists monitor fur-bearer populations to maintain a healthy and sustainable harvest of this important, renewable natural resource. Trapping provides recreation and income for licensed trappers across this country. Who's Your Trapper Outdoors is brought to you by Who's Your Trapper Supply. J3 Outdoors, manufacturer of the Hag Bracket and Body Trap Spring Clip. Leatherwood Creek Trapping Scents, Who's Your Trapper Deer Scents, and Leatherwood Wildlife Art.
All right, thanks for joining us for episode 2, season 10, Who's Your Trapper Outdoors. I want to thank everybody for watching us over the years. Whether you've been with us for 10 years or you're just a new viewer, we sure appreciate it, and we appreciate everybody following along. Channels continue to grow, so more than appreciate that. A couple things I want to mention. We are going to have our rendezvous on September 25th. Day-long run, demos, good food, kids games, the whole thing. Of course, the shop's open. We will have some tailgaters here as well, so everyone's more than welcome to come. We have had people come as far away as New York State, so so you're more than welcome to come to the area. There's hotels nearby to stay in too. So we are having the photo contest again this year for both deer hunters and trappers. You will have to submit your photos through the website, so there will actually be a specific email for that. It's on the homepage of the website. It got, to be honest, quite confusing on photos coming through from social media platforms or whatever. So this is where we're just going to have one place to submit photos, and that's how we'll accept them. I want to thank everybody for the orders. I'm sure appreciate it. If you haven't given our website a look, you might check us out at who'syourtrappersupply.com. Here again, like I said, I appreciate all the support, appreciate all the orders. I think that's it. Hope you enjoy the show.
First coyote of the day. Put the bracelet on him.
Check day 2.
Check day 2. We had a, right here, there's a rock I used for the backing. Kind of a flat set situation. Tuck the little top dog under the rock. Predator gravy and coyote carnage. So, paid off. Not the prettiest looking coyote. It's definitely rubbed up pretty bad. Yeah, he's real bad actually. Yeah. What can you do? We're saving some turkeys and deer.
Yeah. We ran into the game warden yesterday and goes, we definitely need trappers. Keep some of this stuff under control. So.
Yeah. But didn't trash the setup too much. I think I'll be able to put it right back where it was. Maybe put a little bit of lure down right there and call it good. There's plenty of smell in the area right now. These coyotes definitely stink, so we'll take care of this one and move on down the line. Alright, just finished up this remake here. Flat set, traps right here. I did put a little bit of cat urine right here to kind of pinpoint all the smell right here. Top dog under the hole, or under the rock of course. Right in the path of travel, so hopefully we can catch another one before we pull out of here. So we got time, so we'll see what happens. Charlie's got another set further down, so
this location has always been good for at least one or two coyotes.
Yeah, we've had coyotes, and I recall a gray fox no cats on this trail yet.
Right.
So, time will tell.
I walked right by it.
He's been in the mud a little bit.
All right. Check day 2, second coyote. Second rough-looking coyote. We actually went a little bit later this year. We're probably, almost over 10 days later than what we normally go. So that gave these coyotes 10 more days to start looking rough. But anyways, the set was right here. And this location has always been really good. We've caught coyotes here, bobcats here, gray foxes. Just one of those natural paths of travel for a lot of different animals. So it's always been one of our spots that we could count on. You know, there's years that are better than others, but it's still one of those spots we can always count on. So
I think this is one of my favorite set locations that we stop at.
yeah, and I think
History-wise, I
right,
always liked it.
and it's kind of a cool location too. There's a little pond behind Jake, and
I remember one year we pulled in here and it was late, right before dark. We were finishing up sets and we could just hear coyotes going off, howling and carrying on. It just had that cool feeling being out in the woods.
Yeah, and it was
So.
it's interesting. Whenever we've done that, been in that scenario where we've heard coyotes howling, like we're setting right at dark, right before it gets dark. I heard coyotes howling. We have never caught a coyote in that area the next day.
Yeah.
But I remember like 2 days later, I think we caught like 3 up on this stretch right up here, 3 or 4. I mean, it was like, it just, they just
Kicked
ran.
in.
Yeah, just kicked in. But just because you're hearing them doesn't mean you're going to catch them that same night. We've never found that to be the case. So we'll get him taken care of and move on down the line. Okay, this coyote actually bent this trap up. Not bad, and it's an MB 550, so, and we rarely have to do this, but I did have to bend this in a little bit. He beat it on something where it actually had he didn't bend the dog, he bent the frame a little bit, so I actually got it back into place. But these things right here, it's not a commercial, they're just really good to have with you, particularly on some of the other traps that are softer steel that don't hold up to as well. Particularly if you catch a coyote on frozen ground. I mean, it's basically they're sitting there beating that trap on concrete essentially. So anyways, these are handy to have. We always try to have one in each one of our bags just for, and this is the first time I've had to do it for a while, but every now and then you'll have one that you need to touch up out in the field. So okay, here's the remake on that set. Coveralls down, and just a little bit of pretty dry dirt that I found up here on the bank that I just sifted over the top to hold those coveralls in place. We got pure mud right here. If this trap had been staked, it would have been an absolute souping mess. So fortunately it was on a drag and the coyotes over there, and we didn't have an issue with the set location itself. But some of these roads I use as Jeep trails in here, so this has been pretty beat up by Jeeps and stuff. So but anyways, the set is good to go. Didn't relure or do anything like that. Everything's good from yesterday.
Hags Trapping Products by J3 Outdoors, the most versatile and efficient trapping devices on the market.
Top Dog Predator Bait. Success speaks for itself.
It's a possum. Pretty cool, Charlie.
Yeah.
First guy of the
Out of the trip. Check day 2. It's funny, we pulled up here and we set this kind of later in the afternoon yesterday, and Justin was wiped out, just not feeling good at all, and
I was fighting it.
yeah, and
I think I ate some bad shrimp.
I think you did too. I think you got
Food poisoning or something. I was not in the mood to be setting traps. I tried. got about 3 sets in, and I gave up. Charlie finished the day out.
Anyways, pulled up here this morning to check, and Jake goes, "You didn't set a trap up there, did you?" And I go, "Yeah, I did." He goes, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." So I write everything down, so so we don't have to ever question, where we're setting traps. But anyways,
Where was the set at?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right there by that rock, I think.
Bobcat urine.
Top dog, finicky feline. Couldn't resist. And I did use just a drop of long distance. The long distance I've got that we sell is super potent, and it doesn't take hardly any of it. So just to have just that hint of skunk at the set, I'm literally taking an eyedropper and using a drop. That's all you need, particularly in this mild climate. The bobcats definitely like the smell of skunk, and but you could blow them out of the water too. So with it, but so we're using a very, very minimal amount of long distance, but just for that hint to be there. So the finicky, clearly the bobcat urine, and just that hint of skunk with the top dog down in the hole. So we'll get him taken care of, and we've got several more to check. So pretty good day. A couple coyotes so far, and a bobcat. Okay, here's the remake on that cat set. Just kind of up under that rock. Top dog, like I said, long distance and finicky. And the cat, it's got serious cat smell around here. Certainly made herself known. So any cat coming by here is going to check this out. This is a younger cat, so hopefully that means there's some other one in the area, and we'll be able to pick them up. This being only the second check day, so if some come through here, we've got a good chance of catching another one. Should be a good location. So this is our trap box for when we're on trips, and because we have these side windows on the side of our camper shell, it works perfect. We used to use totes, and that was a disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but once you started going through the totes, then you had all these empty totes, and you try to stack them up. It was great for organization initially, but it wasn't that great in the scheme of things. It seemed like a better idea than it was. So I built this box, and essentially it's just a plywood box. I don't remember what they call it. It's like a 3/4 inch plywood, and of course it's got reinforced in the middle there. But essentially there will be 10 dozen MB550s essentially on this side, and we have 6 dozen drags on the other side. All of the weight is up in the center of the truck, so it's not sitting on the tail end of the truck, and then everything's in one place. And then when we pull, everything can go in here. When we pull, we take the traps that are have caught, or what we would consider contaminated, and keep those on the sides outside the box. So everything in the box can actually be reused on the next trip. And then the ones that are contaminated on the exterior of the box will retreat, and they can go back in the mix. But we have, I can't think of a better way than this to take traps on a trip or take traps on a trap line. That is assuming you have these side windows to access this box. Otherwise, you're going to have to come up with something more on the tailgate end. The weight is always an issue, but with this, it's distributed and everything's just fine. So it works really well. As far as what else we typically have, we work out of toolboxes. So, and we've got a little bit of overkill here, but we've got a toolbox basically that's got lure and bait in it. Here, we've got a toolbox there that has urine in it, coyote, bobcat, primarily on this trip, and sometimes we'll have some fox in there as well. This toolbox is basically, it's just miscellaneous tools, backup equipment, stakes, we got backup sod busters, backup trowels, wire cutters, all that kind of stuff, sifters in there. And then that toolbox over there is all our skinning stuff, which we've used for years. So
Skinning box.
right. And then our equipment sits back here on the end. I will say that when we make a catch and we've got carcass animals, it's not perfect or ideal, but we make it work. They typically go on the sides, both sides, if we're keeping a lot of stuff. And then this, what do you call this thing right here, Jake?
It's an emergency jump starter, but it's got a inverter so we could plug a freezer in if we wanted to. It's got an air compressor built in. Emergency equipment must have.
Right, jump your vehicle, the whole thing. Of course, we had a flat tire the other day, and we realized our tire patch kit was not in the truck, so we went and got one of those. But we've been in some. Most of the time, when you're trapping, you're in fairly remote areas. When we were in New Mexico, I don't know, 2 years ago or whenever the last time we were there, or 3 years ago, we were in an area that was, I mean, it was crazy remote, and it was very rough terrain. And I just thought, man, if we had a problem out here, you'd have to give somebody a wave point, assuming you could do that to get in there to get you out. I mean, it was, so we thought, this is almost $300, but it's just good peace of mind. And Jake is kind of a mechanic and builds cars and stuff, so he has found it invaluable to have at home in the barn. So it doesn't just get used on the trip. In fact, it's used more at home than it does here, but it's got a lot of multi-use to it. But it's just, like I said, it's just good peace of mind when you're in these areas that are remote where you can help yourself. So we typically carry a shovel, some hatchets, that kind of thing. Got a chain, we got a tow strap,
We got our jack.
we got a good jack.
Of course, the spare tire.
So that's kind of everything in a nutshell as to what we take on a trip. Like I said, we take a lot of lure and bait with us. We have quite a bit of urine. We could probably actually put these 2 in 1, but you just never know how much you're going to go through if you got a ton of wet weather, or who knows, if we run into another trapper, sometimes we'll give him a jar of bait. So anyways, that's kind of what we do in terms of the truck. But the main thing I wanted to show you was this box, because that's working out quite well, and keeping everything organized as the best we can. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Hopefully you got some windows on the side of your camper shell. If you don't have a shell on at all, all this would work just fine, just like it is. So one thing too, on this box, we've got a board right here that actually goes on top of the box. So when we're traveling, we can put stuff on the box here. The box is completely full with equipment, but the board can go up here, and then we can put stuff up on top, because our freezer's going to go in here too when we're traveling. So we've got it down in a dozen years of doing this. In a dozen years of doing this, we've got it down to this is kind of the most organized we can be. So
Yeah. We even put our clothes and stuff up here on the cargo rack. He's got a bag that usually is in there. We can put all our clothes. It makes it a little easier for traveling too.
So right now, yeah, we've got our spare tire up there, and we've also carry our additional bag of cover holes or 2 up there on top, just to keep them out of the space in the interior of the truck. So hopefully there's some ideas there that you all can use, whether you're taking a trip or trapping around home or whatever. If we're trapping around home and we're only using a couple dozen traps or a couple dozen sets, and maybe you only got, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 farms set up, we will use the totes that just have the traps in them. But when we're on a trip and we're going to take 10 dozen traps with us, this trip we had 115, which is 5 traps shy of 10 dozen. But we'll use the box. It's just definitely the best way to go in terms of organization, just making things as easy as possible and as efficient as possible. So one more thing too, super simple, super kind of obvious. We started putting cardboard down. It kind of gives us a little bit of cushion, particularly if you got to get in there on your knees. This stuff right here is terrible. If you're kneeling on the back of the truck, it also keeps stuff from sliding around. Stuff doesn't slide near as easily. And then blood or whatever gets on it when we get home, we can just pull it out and put new cardboard in. So that was one more thing I wanted to mention. That we just started doing that in the past couple years. So it just one more thing just to kind of make things a little bit easier. Just kind of a daily update. So we're still on check day 2. We're done checking traps. We're setting more traps. So we ended up with the 2 coyotes and the bobcat, which was kind of a nice surprise. The bobcat and the last coyote were both first night checks, so that's always kind of a nice bonus. So we're setting traps. Justin's feeling much better. He's able to set traps this afternoon. Turned into a nice day, and we're getting several more traps in. We've probably got an hour and a half before it gets dark, so we've got a lot of time to keep working on our line, keep expanding our line, keep getting to different groups of animals, hopefully. So looking forward to tomorrow. We'll always look forward to checking traps. I think that's the whole deal with this, is that just that Christmas morning anticipation. You never know what's going to be there waiting on you the next morning. So anyways, looking forward to tomorrow.
Trapping has been a lifelong passion of mine. Back in 1976, I started Hoosier Trapper Supply, and we've had the privilege of serving trappers across this great country for all these years. We carry a complete line of traps and trapping equipment. You can check us out at HoosierTrapperSupply.com.
Who's your trapper deer sense? Success speaks for itself.
All right. Q&A, question and answer. And be sure to get those questions in, and we normally work off of the comments below the video, below the show, or specific emails that we get. This is where we get our questions. So be sure to get those in if you would like to have them addressed, or we'll try to answer them. The first one was somebody asked about freezing fur when we're on a trip. Basically, everything is skinned, and we just roll it up, put it in a plastic bag, get it in the freezer. That's the same day. We don't, when we're in the truck, even if the animal is skinned, we don't bag them up at that point. We bag them up at the end of the day, right before they go into the freezer. So, and we're very conscious of not stacking stuff in the freezer so that it wouldn't freeze. So we keep everything on a single layer. If we bobcats, we actually bring back whole because we want the carcasses. So those go in whole. If you check out, we've got some past videos. I think it's even on our how-to section about how to get the CITES tag on the whole bobcats. So you have the frozen cat and you get the CITES tag on there on that carcass cat later in the trip or whatever. So check that out on the how-to. So there's a lot of area of discussion on freezing fur. Big fur buyers actually have walk-in freezers, and they hang everything by the nose within the freezer, and then they've got that flat skin, and then they just stack them up like that. That is probably actually the safest way to freeze something and not have to worry about bacterial growth or spoilage, which creates spoilage. In the manner that we're at, where we're handling things quickly, moving things through, we can get by with the bagging stuff up, but don't bag it till right at the end and bag it right when you put it in the freezer. So it keeps things single layer. For the trip that we take in Arkansas, we typically just take one of the small chest freezers, and that works fine. If we were on say a raccoon trip specifically, or a beaver trip, or even a muskrat trip where you're going to catch a lot of animals, then we'll take a full-size freezer. May even take more than one. I've got a buddy that goes to Kansas and he takes like 6 freezers. So, but he's there for 4 to 6 weeks too. So it just all depends on the length of the trip, what you're trapping, that kind of thing in terms of size of freezer. So this is a good observation. Somebody asked about why we were setting traps on both sides of a 2-track. So typically we do set both sides. That way we got the advantage of the wind or whatever, we got it covered. So, and there was one that we set on just one side and we didn't set the far side. And if it's the clip that I saw that you're referring to, that basically was because of the angle of the road. We were trying to keep out of view of the road, Forest Service road. So if somebody drove down that road where we were setting, they were a lot less likely to see the catch than they would if we had put it on the opposite side, and that's the reason we did that. And it definitely is true that you want to try to set both sides. That way you got it kind of covered. On that location in the past, I have walked a little bit further down the fire trail, and had another set, and it technically would have been on the other side of the road. So and that one normally produces a coyote or two as well. So yeah, good observation, and that is the reason behind that. So we're working every angle as far as public view, most likely spot to catch animals, all of that. But yes, if you can, definitely set both sides of a 2-track. So appreciate the questions. Be sure to get those in, and we'll try to get them answered on the show.
All right, hope everyone enjoyed the show. Real quick, gotta mention we have the new catalogs coming out very soon. They're at the printer. About a month or so we should have those out, so these are junk at this point. So be on the lookout for that. You can follow the phone number or the website address below and order one or sign up for our email newsletter and get it that way. HoosierTrapperSupply.com. Also, want to mention, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, of course. And I have a Facebook group called The Catch Circle. That's welcome to all trappers. Anything trapping related is welcome. So follow us on there and share your pictures. And we'll see you next time.
Join us on September 3rd for the next episode of Who's Your Trapper Outdoors.